everybody, welcome to Teensy Vintage. This is Teresa. Today we are working with texture and I'm using something that's new to me. Some of you may have already done this technique, but I found this Ziploc bag of old sewing pattern pieces. I mean, they were all just mishmash stuffed in there, so they're not like a pattern. But they were part of pattern sets. So I bought this for like 50 cents at the Creative Reuse store. And I decided, you know what, I'm gonna incorporate this today. So I'm using some matte gel medium and one of those little pieces of fake credit card things that come in junk mail to spread out this medium and adhere the pattern paper, which is really lightweight and almost quasi-translucent, not really, but enough that it provides some texture and some interesting background material without being really bulky. So it's really nice. It's not gonna like make your page all warped and heavy and stuff. But yeah, so I've just randomly glued down some pieces. Now I'm gonna go for some ink. And here I am trying to figure out which one. Like, what do I feel like today? I feel like purple. Okay. I had this kind of glossy purple that had a lot of iridescence in it. And then I also had a Liquitex purple. And I ended up being unsure. So I dried the glue first. You want to make sure everything's dry. But I took a piece of scrap paper and I put a little bit of each ink on there just to see what the colors were. And the one on the left is the um, De La Rowney rather, and the one on the right, or the bottom now, is the Liquitex. And I went with the Liquitex. It just was really dark and bold, and I was like, let's go bold today. I'm going to use a cool color palette today, and I'm adding some water here to make it easier to spread this ink around. And I'm using the Tim Holtz little air blower tool. I don't really know what that thing is called. Tiny bellows. But you can get this really cool effect. It looks almost like, you know, a lightning strike or I don't know. I don't know what it looks like. Capillaries maybe. But yeah, a little ink and some water, and then just blow the ink around the page, and you get these tiny little trails, and they just look really cool. So here I've got a bunch of purple on the page, and the purple in question, this purple is an acrylic ink from Liquitex called Dioxazine Purple, and it's a nice dark purple. We're also going to use another Liquitex ink. This one's called Turquoise Deep, and it is a stunning teal color. I love it. You can see I'm using a piece of paper there. That's to kind of keep the little bits from spraying around my desk. And I managed to get some on the opposite page of my art journal, but I didn't really care about that. But I didn't want it flying around the other parts of the desk. All right, so now the ink is dry. I'm just going around and getting any little corners that just need a smidge of glue um, to be glued down. You always want to make sure you close those ink jars, y'all. Those, you do not want to knock that over. All right, now time for some acrylic paint. And this is a distress paint called Uncharted Mariner. I picked this paint because it is very thin. And I wanted something that could be turned into a watercolor look with a little bit of water, but also have a kind of a nice color to it. I picked this blue because it kind of sits between the dark purple and the turquoise on the color wheel, and I just kind of wanted to have something to be a nice background color. And I'm just going around with a little bit of water, a little bit of paint, and covering up any white spots and any uncovered sewing pattern paper too. All right, yeah, clean that up. And now that looks really good. Make sure all of that is dry. All right, you can see a past project under there. Beauty of art journals. They're all in one place. Okay, now the next part is we're going to add some stamps. And I pulled out 2 block stamps. I don't usually use block stamps, but these I love because they're just big, shapes. I don't need a lot of precision on these. The one with the diamonds is called Posh Impressions, and I don't have a name for that one. But the circle is actually a hero art stamp called lowercase o, but I use it as a circle. My little donut stamp. And I'm just going around the page very randomly here with the diamonds and the O's and just getting a cool design on the paper. Um, Something that, is just interesting to the eye. Part of it will get covered up later and other parts will stick out. Now I'm going to get some, let's see, Woody Stabilo Woodies, and some Neo colors. And I was laughing there because I realized I had 2 of the same crayon. But that's what happens when you like a color. You're at the store and you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to get this. Don't realize you already have it. Now I'm going in with a large flat brush. This has a rounded tip. It's nice and soft with some water, and I am just zhuzhing all of this color around. That's the beauty of these crayons and pencils. They are water activated, so you can use them dry or wet. And when they're wet, they make this nice watercolory look. I pulled out a yellow Woody, and I'm just putting that in some spaces. To me, the yellow adds this little glow to the page that I really liked, and some contrast. It's the only warm color I'm going to use today. And so, yeah, I'm just just putting it where it feels right. A little bit here, a little bit there. Just trying to bring some contrast to some of the dark spots on this page. And going over them with the wet brush. And blending them together. They look really nice. You can also gently dip the tip of the pencil into the water and start drawing with it that way. There's a number of ways to use these pencils. So don't let yourself be limited. Try different things, see what kind of marks you get, and then you can incorporate them into your work and get a cool looking page. All right, now we're going to make sure everything's nice and dry. Always dry everything between layers unless you're trying to, mix things together because they will mix together if you don't dry them. All right, there's me patting the page, making sure it's dry. Now we're going to go in with some white gesso, and I'm using a cosmetics wedge here just to get some on the page, and then I'm going to mush it with my finger. Why? I don't know. I just like to do that sometimes. I'm also going to use this square grid stencil and add some the grid look with the white gesso, and just to give more like paint texture to this page. And I'm going to add a little more gesso here. There's a few more spots I want to put the grid, and I'm just using it to push through. I'm not worried that it's going to be a little sloppy, a little grungy. That's what I want. Now, if you're looking for a precise look with your stencil, then I would use way less gesso and be very intentional about the pressure that I'm using and how much gesso, and maybe going over it twice, depending on how dark you want it to be. All right, so now I'm just kind of, again, zhuzhing just a little bit here and there. The gesso for me softens harsh edges and intense colors, and it kind of pushes things back in the mind's eye. All right, we've got our Posca pen. Going to do a little bit of mark making, some X's. Then I pull out a Faber-Castell Pitt pen in black. This is the brush tip pen, and I just start making little hash marks, which you can hardly see here. Sorry about that. I ended up not really liking them, but they're on there. Then I pulled out some more craft paint. This is a Dilutions paint in Lemon Zest. And this is a very, very thin paint. But again, I wanted it to be thin. I wanted it to be translucent. So this fits the bill. And I'm just going through and enhancing the yellow that's already there. Remember, we used some yellow woody pencil, and I used a little bit of water to activate that, but I just wanted to give it even more oomph with this almost neon yellow. All right, now we're auditioning some folks here who's going to sit on this page as our focal, and it takes a second here. Go through the crowd here, the usual suspects. And it turns out these two ladies fit the bill. I don't know. I just know it when I see it. It's hard to explain. Sorry, folks, but you'll know too if you're, working on a page. You'll be like, yes, this is the one that will work. And we're gonna darken the sides of this cardstock because that way they'll kind of be a little more. I don't know. They just kind of blend into the page a little better. White edges make things just stick out oddly. I don't know. So now I'm auditioning where to put these ladies, and this takes me a minute. uh, Up there, maybe no. Over there, yes, I think that's the spot. So, all right. Now we're going to use some art glitter glue to adhere this paper doll. These are Tim Holtz. Did I mention that? They are. You know that. To the page. And I'm also going to try to, at the same time, put the needle back in my glue, which, oh boy, don't try to do that and something else at the same time. Okay, now we've got our Stabilo all in black and a Woody in black. So the Woody is good for large spaces, but the all pencil is what I like to use for smaller spaces, especially down there near the lady's feet. Now we're going to activate it with water. And basically, I had to give them something to sit on and some ground to put their feet on. This way, they'll be anchored on the page and not just floating there. And you'll also notice on the left that that gal has an elbow propped up. So I gave her just a little shadowy spot to put her elbow on. And this just helps your eye to see these women and be like, oh, yeah, they're sitting down hanging out. All right. So I also wanted to darken up the edges of the page. So I got out some Payne's Gray, and I'm using the same sponge that I had used to apply gesso. It still has wet gesso on it, so that now it's Payne's Gray plus the gesso, so it's lighter than it usually would be, and this is a good thing. And now I'm also zhuzhing just a little bit, darken up any spots that need just a little hint, a little touch of rain cloud, as I like to say. There we go. And we'll clean that off our work surface. Ah, that's looking really good. Okay, now for a sentiment. This is my latest set of snippets. Did y'all know I make snippet sets? I do. They're on my Ko-Fi shop. I will put the link in the description below. So we're going to use one of these sentiments today. And you can get your own set. I also have another set one. Both are there. But yeah, this one says her heart surged. And I thought that was really sweet. So we're going to glue those down. A little bit of art glitter glue. There we go. And we'll also do a smidge of shading with our Stabilo all, just to kind of give them a 3D look. There we go. Yay! This page has come together so nicely. It's a great, work in contrast. I'm really happy with it. Thank you so much for watching, y'all, and I will see you next time.